Hey, this is Gail Kim, Impact Hall of Famer, and you are watching Count It Out with Mike and Tyler.
This episode of Count It Out with Mike and Tyler is provided by Cottage Spring. Well, we are live, pals, and welcome to one of my favorite editions of the Bill Apter Seal of Approved, provided by Cottage Springs episode of Count It Out with Mike and Tyler. My name is Tyler, and reluctantly this week I have allowed Mike to come on the show. But before I get to burying you, first things first, happy birthday. Your birthday is
Thank
yesterday,
you.
as of this episode being dropped.
Very, very true.
And your birthday in real time is in about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So happy birthday, you old fucker.
Thanks. I'm gonna go on a rant a little later about old people, and I'm probably in that group of old people.
Are you gonna yell at a cloud?
Old people. So I most likely will yell at a cloud. I'm gonna go on about what it was, because I used to have it. I don't know if you knew that, but then they changed what it was. So that'll be part of the rant for sure.
Double Simpsons
I had
whammy.
sex.
Before we get into anything, we also have to say Happy Canada Day, everybody. We are a few days away from Canada Day, and hence why I said reluctantly allowed you on the show this week.
Yeah.
If I would have known, if I would have known this was going to be our Canada Day episode, I would have probably made a couple phone calls and had a busy week.
It wasn't supposed to be so. It wasn't. We're doing this on the fly. It was like less than 24 hours ago. I realized how the schedule fit, because we were ready. Like, it's my turn for a list this week. So I was ready with my list. I'm like, good, it's my birthday, it's my list. It's, as Tyler would say, my show, motherfucker. Yeah. I was ready to go, man. But then I looked at the calendar. I'm like, because we have another list. I don't want to spoil it, but we have another list you and I've been working on that we want to.
We have one each that we've been working on.
Exactly. So I said, okay, when are we going to do that? I said, oh, wait, we still have Canada Day. So I looked at the calendar. I said, okay, well, if we do it this week, we're 4 days in advance. If we do it next week, we're 4 days late. Ah, crap.
Better to be ahead of the times than behind the times. Unless we just do next week's show and just talk about the Tragically Hip all episode.
I'm always down for that.
Hell
We gotta call Sean Gibson.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
there's a
maybe
big
my good buddy Jeff DeHaan. That makes some calls on that one. Yeah.
While we're on the topic of Sean Gibson, big shows this weekend in Barrie for Barrie Wrestling. Mm-hmm. They're doing the Canada Day events on the 31st and 1st, or 30th and the 1st? 30th and the 1st, downtown Barrie. I will not be at the shows this one, unfortunately. I have prior commitments.
You missed it last year, didn't you?
I did 2 of the 3 shows last year.
Okay.
I did 2 of the 3, but it's the long weekend, and myself and the fiance, we have some plans that we're going to do, and it's also Money in the Bank weekend next weekend, and I may be pushing my luck trying to get down to a few events there. So I figure, let's put the time in this week. But I'm excited for Money in the Bank weekend. I've got tickets for the Sami Zayn show, the comedy show that he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really eyeing up the GCW show. Maybe grab a ticket for that. And I got tickets thanks to our friend Jay. He hooked me up with some NXT tickets. So I'm pretty excited for that.
Jesus. I returned from vacation on Thursday, so I will be doing none of those things.
Yeah.
You
picked the wrong week, brother.
Well, WWE fucked me. No, I take the same vacation every single year. I start vacation on the 23rd of June every year. This is WWE's fault. They screwed me over this year. However, I will be moving some things around on that weekend if a plan I'm working on works out. I won't say any names because I don't want to tempt anything, but a good friend of ours, and I call him that because he doesn't know he's a good friend of ours. A good friend of ours will be in town. He announced on his own podcast that he will be in town this weekend. He's going to be around Toronto. So I'm going to try so hard for you and I to be able to hook up with him somewhere in the GTA, maybe have lunch and get a few minutes for the show. So pay
I don't even
attention.
know. I don't even know what the hell you're talking about.
Maybe if it all works out, we'll get a big return to the show. I'll tell you off air. But so I'm working on something big. Hopefully it pans out. But if not, I'll just be working all weekend and crying and knowing that you're having a great time.
I do like that your misery will come at my happiness. That does warm my heart. That's my birthday
Mhm.
gift to you. By the way, you and I broke our tradition this year. This is the first year we didn't get each other cameos for our birthdays.
I know. And I realized it like 3 days after your birthday, and June's been a rough month, man. On so many things, I'm like, oh man, I really dropped the ball. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do it before he even realizes it, and then you realized it. So
Mine was just purely out of spite.
yeah,
No, I'm just kidding. I'm broke as fuck.
just-
I have a wedding to
no.
pay for, man. I can't afford
You-
anything.
you are not. I get it. We talked last week about my broken AC. We have a new AC. It's nice and cold in my house. Shit ain't cheap.
No, it ain't.
Ooh.
All right, well,
Anyways, no more about our financial foibles.
Well, how about before we talk a little wrestling, we go to our favorite weekly segment.
What
And-
weekly segment are you
Well,
talking
that would
about?
be the cottage.
Labels out, brother. Labels out.
Cottage. I was doing the slow turn, the slow reveal for the Cottage Springs Punch Out of the Week, brother.
Laces out, Dan.
And now, the Cottage Springs Punch Out of the Week. Find your favorite flavors at cottagesprings.ca. Time for the Punch Out. Love that little jam there. Good old Cottage Springs.
I too. Gets me in the mood.
Crack open the blood orange Cottage
What are you
Springs
drinking
here.
today? Ooh,
Blood
I need one of
orange.
those. Yeah.
You know, I went a little old
I got the
school.
one. I got the one I can't. I got the one I can't pronounce.
I went a little old school with the Cottage Springs a couple weeks ago, and I got the old 2-4 pack that has the blood orange and the grapefruit, which are two rare flavors that are tougher to get, and then the good old fashioned peach and cherries. Oh,
Love the peach is the best.
yeah, peach is good. You know what? I'm a big fan of the cherry, though. Big fan of the cherry. Yeah.
I gotta grab me a case of the iced teas when I go up to the cottage in a couple days.
Yeah, I haven't had the iced teas in a while either.
I haven't had them at all this season, so I grab me some, and I'll probably go. It's my tradition when I go up to the cottage. I usually have a box of the raspberry kiwi water.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's
but
no, it's not raspberry kiwi. It's raspberry lime. They do strawberry kiwi water.
Strawberry kiwi, raspberry lime. You're right.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think the strawberry kiwi water might be my favorite drink. Period.
The only reason it's not that I prefer the raspberry. I drink more of the raspberry one is because they sell it in that box. Yeah.
If they had strawberry kiwi in the big box, I would just walk around with it tapped into my veins and just that's my favorite drink on the planet.
Yeah, it's so good. So I gotta try the Cottage Springs has these flavored vodkas, like actual bottles of vodka.
I've seen those.
Yeah, I got to get into that, man.
Well, last week's interview was basically presented by Cottage Springs Springers because you were fucking hammered by the end of the day.
Those things,
I told you.
They're so good, but they taste good. That's the thing. Like, you can compare them to those the stupid things you used to have back in the day, the Molson
the cold shots.
Shots. But here's the difference. Those tasted like ass. All right. Sure, they got you messed up and whatever, but they tasted horrible. These things, they taste so good, and you can pound like 6 of them in
they go quick.
minutes.
I know. I was cleaning my garage a couple months ago, and brought a little 4-pack out and it was gone
Yeah.
like in
In
seconds.
minutes.
Yeah,
I
it's like,
know.
whoa, woo. Well, let's get into the moment here, and we're gonna go back because we recorded last week's show really early, and I want to go back to a moment from last week.
There was stuff going on while we were on the air with ATO, wasn't there? Ooh,
That's right.
big
And
stuff going on.
my Cottage Springs punch out of the week / last week. Say his name and we'll appear. We believe in Joe Hendry. Man, Joe
Well,
Hendry is taking the wrestling world on fire right now.
Well, let's be honest, man. He was doing that before WWE came along. He was rocking TNA already for months and months and months. His theme song was like #1 in the UK for the last like 6 months.
Yeah, it's big time on the Spotify charts.
Big time, man. This is long before the WWE deal. So this is all Joe Hendry, man. I'm not taking away from the office. I'm not taking away from the guys at TNA that helped push these guys. But you have to think that 90% of this stuff is Joe Hendry and his hustle and his work. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Not only that, like, you know that you're over when there was no teasing of you being on WWE TV at all.
Right.
And
No.
and it wasn't just like a one-off. For weeks, people chanted for Joe Hendry to come.
Yes.
And
exactly.
and when his music hit for that battle royal, that place exploded. And that's probably one of the best moments of the year. Like, and I'm excited to see the follow-up because a lot of people hated that he got eliminated in 30 seconds. And I think as long as it leads to more Joe Hendry and NXT, I'm all for it.
Also, the people who hated it are just being #1, dumb. Number two, I guess maybe selfish, greedy, because they just wanted more of their guy. That's fine, I guess. But you have to think from a business standpoint. You have to think of what makes sense. My problem is everybody's like, oh, WWE just brought in a TNA guy to bury him. Really? Who eliminated him?
Yeah.
Frankie Kazarian.
Well, and on top of
guy,
that, the whole battle royal jumped him at the same time too, right?
It makes him look so strong. But Frankie Kazarian is a TNA guy who happens to be currently feuding with who? Joe Hendry. It all made sense. That little thing he did, I know it wasn't on TV, it was only on social media, but that thing he did with Shawn Michaels was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see a lot more of Joe Hendry, I think.
Yeah, I hope so. And like, I believe, and I think, and I really, really, really hope, and it's not too late, that we see some kind of NXT and TNA involvement at the NXT pay-per-view in Toronto. I would like to see some TNA involvement in there. It doesn't look like right now we're getting anything.
No.
But like, how cool would it be like if the main event went off the air and like Josh Alexander's music hit and he walked out and stared down the chin? You know,
great.
That would be awesome. I doubt it, but hey, who knows?
Yes, so do I. I don't see that happening at all. I think they're going to be keeping this strictly NXT for a while.
Well, that is NXT. If at the end of the NXT is doing a show in Toronto.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I thought you said at the end of Money in the Bank.
No, not for Money in the Bank. Although I think that's going to put a bow on the Cottage Spring Punch out of the week right here. But I want to segue into Money in the Bank. And you and I were talking a little bit last night.
Before we do that, can I put one more thing on the Joe Hendry thing?
Absolutely. Joe Hendry. I believe that you can do it.
I just got to mention one cool thing that spilled over into the rest of the world. Now, did you happen to watch any of the playoff game last night?
I watched the end of the third period, but I saw the sign.
Okay. For those who didn't, this is brilliant. I was actually watching the game, and you sent me the sign. Actually, you sent me the clip, and I had missed it. I don't know if I was pissing or what, but it went viral, man. I love that some fan showed up to Florida last night with a sign. There was a player on Florida named Carter Verhage, and he's got that sign where it said, "Say his name and he'll appear. I believe in Verhage." And man.
And just for anybody,
it got everywhere too.
Like for anybody that's not in Canada or the United States that's listening to this, or not a sports fan, that was like one of the biggest hockey games of all time last night.
It was
Uh,
historical. It
it
was
was
crazy.
Canadian team, the Edmonton Oilers, came down from being 3 games down to tie it up and force a game 7. So I haven't seen the TV numbers for it yet, but it's probably going to be one of the most watched hockey games of all time.
100%. They did say during commentary last night that it was a historical night on many levels. So you'd think the TV ratings have to be part of that. It was as a Canadian, as a hockey fan, it was a magical night for me. It was a little heartbreaking to not see it happen, considering they came so close, and we haven't had a cup here in Canada in 30 years.
Yes,
to
it's
to, to
1993.
the day.
1993.
94.
93. Montreal
94?
Canadiens.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was 94. Anyways, so we were due. You know what I mean? It was time. But us from a couple Newmarket boys, at least we got to say we got to see Connor. I almost called him Connor McGregor. Connor McDavid kicked some serious ass through this whole series. One was MVP of the playoffs last night. He's a Newmarket boy. He's going to come home proud. Sam Bennett, a boy from your old stomping grounds, Holland Landing, is a young kid, gets to put his name on the cup.
That's cool.
So that's really cool. Either
Yeah.
way, we were getting that cup coming home. He was either coming home to Newmarket or was going to Holland Landing. That's cool to me.
Wake me up when football starts. I don't really give a shit about hockey. You tell me, we'll just keep watching the progress with Joe Burrow's wrist injury and how he's coming along. And,
Yeah.
we got T. Higgins. He's playing. He's signed his franchise tag. He's reported to camp. He's good to go.
We're still like 4 months away, and I'm already scared shitless.
Yeah, I get so bittersweet about football because, like, I want football to start so bad. But at the same time, that means that summer's over, and I love
Yeah.
summer so much. So
Yeah.
it's really tough. It's a really tough time for me, Mike.
I don't want football to start right now because Joe Cool's not ready to go.
Yes, let's extend the season a little bit if we need
Yeah,
to. We can
yeah,
push the
yeah.
start back. But
Exactly.
this is it, man. We got a big chance at the Super Bowl again this year if we can stay healthy. So we'll find out.
Damn right we do.
I want to segue over to Money in the Bank because
Yeah, let's do it.
you and I were talking a little bit last night, and I told you an idea that I had
And
that
I love it.
that I think could be kind of neat. I think
Now, let's be perfectly honest. Do I see it happening? Absolutely not.
I think there's involvement,
But I like it.
I think, and now especially that Chad Gable is qualified for the ladder match. How neat would it be to have the ladder match interrupted by the Wyatt Six and to have them take the briefcase? I don't even care if they take the brief. Like, I think it would be cool to take the briefcase, but I don't see any of those guys as a world champion. So, like, that's kind of tough to get around.
I mean, not right now.
But I mean, I just think it would be such a big way to end the pay-per-view of like them coming out, destroying everybody, and pulling the briefcase down and taking the briefcase. And there's your storyline. What do we do with the Money in the Bank briefcase now?
Now you say none of them are world championship material, and I agree with you at the moment. But remember, they have a full year. A lot can happen in a year. A lot can happen in a year.
I mean,
and I'm telling you right now, I think there is full capabilities of Bo Dallas being a massive star in less than a year.
I hope so. I'm cheering for them. And I thought that sit-down promo they did was a great first step.
What a piece of work, man. That was amazing.
You know what I liked about that too is that it not only did it, make everything make sense and kind of be like, we're not exploiting Bray's death. This is part of it.
Yeah.
And it's almost like the way they portrayed Bo Dallas, like on screen there, it was like he's got this hurt and he wants to make other people hurt in his brother's legacy. Like it made it seem like the death made him spiral. That's how I kind of read into it a little bit. Like
100%.
And I just thought it was like it's something that's so real and so like you could see it happening. Like that probably has happened a million times in life. Somebody lost a close one and spiraled, and now he's formed this psychotic group to like just ruin everything for everybody. And I think it's crazy. What a twist.
And that's why I'm glad they like they changed the masks and stuff like that to be a little different. So this is not the group that Bray formed. This is a group that Bo formed in honor of Bray's group, because we didn't know who those people were before under those masks, and for all we knew, they weren't going to be wrestlers, they weren't going to be characters, they were just there for that one entrance, as far as I remember. You know what I mean? So this is an evolution of that. This is Bo taking what his brother started and going on it in tribute of his brother, which is cool because it's kind of art imitating life. Because in real life, that's exactly what this is. That's exactly what this is. This is Bo Dallas. That's why it pisses me off. Stupid fans get out there going, "Oh, just let Bo go and do his own thing." Bo is doing his own thing. This is Bo doing exactly what he wants to do. He started something with his brother. This is not just like Uncle Howdy came out yesterday. Uncle Howdy was created by Bo and Bray together. This is Bo trying to finish the story he started with his brother for his brother's legacy. If
Now it's
anybody has
just
a problem with that, exactly. And if anybody has a problem with that, F off. Like that. There's something wrong with you, not with this story.
I know you want to do Old Man Yells at Cloud soon, but I have one more thing that's kind of on the same topic. But did you watch the Jeff Jarrett promo that came out?
No, I haven't seen it. No.
So
I don't, but I don't like Jeff Jarrett.
You need
so
to.
It's not like I was running. It's not like I was.
You need to
running.
watch. This might be the best promo of the entire year.
Okay.
It's Jeff Jarrett sitting down and talking about Owen Hart and his participation in the Owen Hart Cup.
But I watched that promo 25 years ago.
No, this is amazing. What do you mean you watch that promo? That's not a promo, man.
I saw him talk about Owen. Like why do I need to see it again 25 years later?
Because he's entering the Owen Hart Cup, and he's the only person that knew Owen that's ever been in this tournament, probably.
I'll watch it, but my give a fuck is at all time low.
Man, you're way off on this one.
No, I'm not way off.
This is phenomenal stuff. I'm telling you.
And I said I'll go check it out. I'm not saying it's going to be bad. I'm saying that I don't give a shit about anything AEW does right now.
Yeah, AEW sucks, but this promo is phenomenal.
Yeah, but don't tell me I'm way off for not caring about this product.
Well, I mean, you said that I saw this promo 20 years, 30 years ago, whatever. Like, no, that wasn't a promo 30 years ago. That was heartbreak.
What I'm saying is the only reason I'm running to watch this is because on your word, you as my friend is telling me to watch it, so I'm going to go to watch it. If you weren't telling me to watch it, I really wouldn't care.
Basically Jeff Jarrett sits down and he's in tears almost the whole interview, and he just talks about his real life relationship with Owen, and he talks about how 8 years to the day that Owen died, his wife died of breast cancer. I didn't know it was the same day.
I didn't know that either.
And he said, that's just Owen playing another rib on me. Like, that's what he said in the interview. Like, he's got, but I knew that, like, I felt that peace with it because I knew that she was with Owen. And then he just talked about how, being on the road for so long that he never sat down and processed Owen's death. And he thinks that, like, that could have led to some of his issues that he had, and that he went to therapy and just talked about Owen in passing, just quickly brought him up, and the therapist stopped him and said, let's talk about this. And they talked about it for hours. And he said that's how his healing, like that was like what turned the corner for him. It was a very personal, and he was crying the whole time. And he said that he quoted a song by, what was the guy the country singer that did the suplex on the first TNA pay-per-view? He just passed away. Toby Keith. Yeah. Just passed away, and that was one of Jarrett's friends too. And he quoted the song where it was something like, I don't need to be as good as I was back in the day. I just need to be, I can't remember the quote, but it's a song, and it was really impactful, and it was a great closing sentence. And he basically just said, like, I need to win this tournament because I love Owen Hart. And it was beautiful. Now the problem is I want Jeff Jarrett to win this tournament, and he can't.
This does create some problems for me. Again, agreed. It makes a thing. you build it up so much. What do you do when he loses?
I don't think
What do you
AEW thought
what do you
that
what do you
this
do when he
promo was going to be
loses?
this good.
Okay.
I don't think they thought it was going to have the effect that it had as well.
Now, let's be honest. Tony only cares about match quality. He doesn't really give a shit about long-term storytelling. Who's to say he doesn't put Jeff over?
He does give a shit about the Owen Hart Cup, though.
No, he does, but which leads to believe that he'd be very happy if the finals was a great match. He doesn't give a fuck what happens afterwards because
The problem is that Jeff Jarrett is scheduled to face a mystery opponent, a wild card opponent, which I think everybody thinks is going to be Hangman Page. That's the rumor on the street. Like, Jarrett's not winning, though. Like, no matter who it is, you can't bring a wild card opponent in and not have them win, right?
Yeah, this is now.
But
I don't know if this is just shitty booking or just like you said, they just didn't know it was going to be that.
I
good of a
don't think
promo.
they thought the feedback was going to be what it was, and I don't
Yeah.
think people in AEW really thought that connection with Jeff and Owen was that strong. Like, like, not that they didn't have a strong friendship in life and whatever, but like, to the wrestling fan, I don't think
I mean,
people would.
look back. Tell me a more touching segment, if that's what you want to call it, during the Owen is Raw episode.
Yeah, Jeff and Mark Henry were and Triple H as well was really touching.
Triple H is very touching.
Those three were really powerful.
But I think Jeff was the most emotional of all of them.
Mark Henry gave a run.
And can I tell you why I didn't like Mark Henry's? Because he did it in gimmick, and that bothered me. Even back then, it bothered me.
Because he did a poem?
Yeah. And I'm like, there's
I
no way.
just remember
There's no way
balling.
real.
I
There's
think
not
he
no
is.
way
I
the
think he
real
likes
Mark
poetry.
Henry. You think he
I can
sits
see
at
Mark
home,
Henry
yeah.
writing a poem. I do. I could see him being back in the day, a young lad writing a
Like,
poem.
I remember watching that like 25 years ago, and even I'm thinking like, even Lanny Poffos at home going, "Come on, dude."
So I do have a solution, though, and I don't know if I want to see this or not, and I don't think that the wrestling world has enough balls to do this, and it may be that they don't even want to see it. But you have Jeff Jarrett lose and start a feud with Christian, because Christian loves making fun of dead dads.
Yeah.
And I just don't know.
Hey.
I don't know if the wrestling world wants that or not, because everybody loves Owen.
Also, they have worked so hard to get this thing together, to get Martha on board, to protect this. I don't think this is where you do that. I really don't.
The only way that I would want to see something like that is if Martha was involved with Christian in a promo, because at least I know she's giving her blessing.
I don't think
it will never happen. It won't.
No, number one, I don't think Martha would give her blessing on this.
I don't think so either.
But
I'm just saying, could you imagine the promo though? I don't want to see it, but could you just imagine Christian just cutting a promo? Like, oh God, it's
all right. I'm going to pretend for a minute that, listen, I'm not an idiot. I know I didn't know Owen Hart. I'm not going to pretend to say I knew Owen Hart. So when I say this, I know full well that I did not know Owen Hart. But you know how a lot of times you'll see something, then you'll be like, "Oh, that was disrespectful," but then the other person will be like, "Well, he would be cool with it," like the Eddie Guerrero and Randy Orton stuff and stuff like that with Rey Mysterio, and they're like, "Oh, well, Eddie would have wanted that because Eddie was business, and Eddie would have wanted that." Now do we know that? Who knows? The people who knew him, maybe. Me as a fan, and the things I've read, the things I've learned, the things I've watched, I want to believe that Owen wouldn't be cool with this.
I think so too. I agree with you. I think Owen would have a problem with it as well. I'm just saying though, could you imagine what that promo would look like? It would be fucked.
For sure.
I don't want to see it though, but I'm just saying that's where my head went today. I'm like, how do you get out of this? Like, where do you go?
Up until now, Jarrett was a massive heel, was he not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they obviously they just use this to turn him babyface. I'm not saying
he'll be
the only to turn babyface.
He'll be a heel again in a week.
See, and I think that's dumb.
Yeah, well, that's AEW.
Yeah. Well, before we change subjects, there's one thing you mentioned something to me last night that kind of stuck with me. it's very, very, very difficult to use real life death in professional wrestling. Sometimes it's okay, and sometimes it's just not okay. But even the times when it's okay, you have to be careful. You have to do it properly. You have to make sure that, everybody's protected and blah, blah, blah. It almost never works. Let's be honest. It almost never works. The scenario you brought up, I personally believe does not work.
No, I don't think so either. But
however, last night you and I were texting to each other, and you flat out called the Bodala stuff one of the most tasteful uses of death
Mhm.
in company history, and I have to agree with you. I think that was one of the best ways we've seen it, ever. Because right now, so far, it's not the heel doing it, and I don't know, because right now I'm not counting Bodalis as a heel. I know he's this evil entity and all that, but right now to me he's not like a monster heel yet.
Yeah.
So to me it's not JBL shitting on a dead Eddie Guerrero.
I mean,
It's not
they did murder people, so I don't know. I don't think they're faces either.
yeah, but Chad Gable was okay.
He was fine, but I don't think
He was
anybody else.
fine.
What about everybody else? Just
And
yeah.
by the way, it
Chad
turns out
Gable's
Gunther
okay.
was one of those people. CVV confirmed that on his show the other day. I'm like,
Well, CVV
eh,
didn't know. He just was speculating like we all were.
yes,
Love me some
but
CVV.
but I think CVV knows a little bit more than we do. He talks to people.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe he does. We talk to people.
We do talk to people. We talk to a lot of people.
We have a lot of similar guests as CVV. Let's toot our own horn.
We talked to some really cool Australian people last week, and if you
We
haven't heard
did.
that, go back and listen to that. It's one of my favorite shows of the year. Can I say that? Like,
Yeah,
it's seriously one of my favorite shows we've done of the year.
A lot of great feedback from that one. Also, while we're on the meeting a lot of great people, happy birthday to Jonah as well.
I keep forgetting he and I basically share a birthday.
Yeah, as we record this, his birthday's today and yours is tomorrow.
Yep.
So
yeah, I got to reach out to him. Yeah,
yeah, good old Jonah.
And I'm going to throw this 100% credit to you, because number one, you did the interview and you made the reels, but our Eric Rowan stuff is killing it on YouTube.
Yeah,
killing it.
Timing.
Yeah, man. Good stuff.
Stay
Good
tuned.
stuff. And,
I got a nice Jimmy Jacobs one talking about Eddie Guerrero. I'm gonna put up in the next day or two.
Very nice.
Yeah.
All right. Fun. Well, maybe we have a couple of TJ talking about Owen stuff to go up.
Yeah. Yeah. Owen Hart stats. Could I do have some TJ Owen stuff?
So pretty good timing for that too. Now, before we move on to what I'm sure is a horrible list.
Well, it's Canada Day, so you set the bar. Top 7 title changes to happen in Canada, by the way. Most influential. I don't know what the name is yet. Just title changes. I don't know.
Because you've changed your criteria like 32 times. I didn't even bother trying to do research or make a list for this.
Yeah, but you don't do that any week.
I'm gonna listen because I already did a ton of research. I was building a really hard list already, and then when we switched the list, I'm like, I'm out. I'm just gonna listen to Tyler talk.
That's for the best.
Which you prefer, anyways.
Yeah, that's how that's usually the best shows we have.
But talking about listening to people talk. Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
I'm real sick of hearing a lot of people talk.
Yell at that cloud, old man.
Oh, I get it. Listen, I get it. I'm in an hour from now. I'm 43 years old. I'm not a young chicken. Also, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm not a wrestler. I'm not in the business. I you know what I mean? I do this podcast. I get to talk to my buddy, and
and me too.
And you too. I'm extremely lucky to talk to very famous and influential people in the business on this show. Outside of that, I am not in the wrestling business, and I understand that. What I talk about on this show is nothing more than my uneducated opinion, and even then, I barely give that. Usually, you and I just talk about positive stuff. You know, we very rarely shit on anything or anybody on this show. I'm so sick of every other wrestling podcast, especially if it's run by a former wrestler. I you want to call me old man yelling at cloud. I'm going to yell at the old men yelling at clouds. There are so many retired professional wrestlers who just won't shut their damn mouths right now. And my problem is they're not just listen, if you want to shoot on fans because we shoot our mouths and it's annoying, do that. But they're shooting on the people that are trying to build this business and continue building this business long after what you did was relevant. You have guys like Taz, Kevin Nash, Mark Henry, to an extent Bully Ray, though I do agree with a lot of stuff Bully Ray says.
I like Bully Ray and Mark Henry both. I'm a big fan of what Mark Henry says.
Mark Henry, I'll agree to disagree with you on that.
Why you pissed about his Wyatt 6 comment?
That I'm 50-50 on. I get what he was saying, but at the same time, Mark, get with the fucking times. It's not 1996 anymore.
I kind of agree with him. It took away a little bit for me.
But no, he's been pissing me off for many months. But then you have your Vince Russos and your Jim Cornettes and all these guys that won't stop bitching and whining about professional wrestling. We get it. You don't like wrestling. That's fine.
Hey, Vince Russo could draw more heat than any wrestler in the modern product. You just ask him; he'll tell you all about it. All right, bro.
You have Road Dogg saying he was a better worker than Bret Hart.
No, he said he was a better sports entertainer than Bret Hart. Big difference.
You got goddamn. Thank God Bret Hart's podcast only lasted like 3 weeks.
Oh God! Can I tell you I've done a complete 180 on Bitter Bret Hart, and I love Bitter Bret Hart now.
What are you talking about? You've loved Bitter Bret Hart for a long time.
No, I didn't. I wasn't a big Bitter Bret Hart fan. There were some times I was like, "All right, Bret, let's move along here." But now, ever since the WCW show,
I love the one thing on WCW. Other than that, no, Bitter Bret Hart.
You have to watch the reel. He keeps calling everybody idiots.
He's coming to Toronto in October, and I will go just to bitch your ear off on the way home about how horrible it was. Because
I'm not going with you then.
Oh yeah, we're going.
I love it. Okay, you buy the tickets; they're expensive.
Bitter Bret Hart is the worst.
He's the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be.
I'm trying to remember what Kevin Nash just said that pissed me off.
He's defending the finger poke of doom.
Well, that too, but no, he was going after Punk. I can't believe that of all the old timers, that the one that I would defend most right now would be Punk, because Punk stays out of it 90% of the time, and when he does say shit, it's actually true. And Punk's not attacking people right now. He's just answering questions, and his answers happen to be valid. But you have Nash. What do you say about Punk? He was talking about how Punk hasn't come back fast enough from his tricep tear.
Hey, if anyone's qualified enough about talking about coming back from injuries, it's Kevin Nash, all right?
He says, listen, back in whatever year, I tore my quad. First one, no shit, Kevin. You tore your quad? No way. He goes, nobody even knew it. Yeah, Kev, we knew. I came back in like 3 weeks. He's been out for like 6 months. Yeah, Kev, because when he comes back, he's going to be able to wrestle matches. You just have to come back, do this a couple times, throw a leg drop, and leave.
That's why I love The Undertaker. Because if you ever listen to anything The Undertaker says in his podcast, he'll reference the old school way. Like, yeah, we did this back in the day. But thankfully, it's not like that anymore.
Out of all the old guys yelling at clouds, I like Taker.
Triple H is pretty good too.
But I'm basically being the ones who are out every week shooting the shit.
Wow.
You just said it though. Some of them are doing it, I think, on purpose.
I think it's almost all of them are. It's gimmicks, man. Gotta get the clicks.
Exactly.
They can't all be counted outs.
What would you say about getting Glenn Gilberti on this show?
He will never come on. He hates podcasts. I would love to talk to Glenn Gilberti. The guy's I like listening to him sometimes. Very small doses. But I would like to I would like to interview him About his career, I think that would be entertaining. I don't want to hear your
I wouldn't
opinion.
want to. I don't want him to come on and talk about how much he hates like everything.
Yeah, I don't
I
want
don't
to
want to
talk
hear
about
that
wrestling
shit.
with
That's
them.
not.
I would
I
love to
want to talk
talk
about his
about
career.
his
Yeah.
career. Yeah, he did some cool stuff in his
I
career.
want to know who he thinks killed WCW.
Yeah. Well, fuck. It sounds like Vince Russo after last week's episode.
I got to get caught up. I'm still on
It's
episode 2. I got to get caught up.
Phenomenal series. Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
wait till tomorrow till I watch the last part of
I'm
that.
having a hard time because I'm behind on that, but I'm also behind on I'm really behind on Dark Side.
Oh fuck yeah, that was a great
So
season.
I'm trying to get caught up on Dark Side. Right now I'm on the Brutus Barber Beefcake episode.
Oh god.
Your favorite.
I can't. Him and his wife is so unlikable on that, and Brutus is so unlikable. Not as unlikable as Buff Bagwell came across. He came across as so unlikable on the show, and
Which
the
is-
nicest guy to talk to. Like you had great
Which is
experience talking to
crazy.
him.
I had a great experience with Buff. He was so nice to me. And then I see him on that show. I'm like, oh, okay, I don't know.
Yeah,
But it's all about experiences, right? I guess.
but
Like
you know,
I don't.
at the end of the day, go back to your point. You said it the best. All these guys are just fucking saying shit to get attention
Yeah.
because that's the world we live in, and this is how they make their money now. You know, none of them, with the exception of a couple of them, are really doing anything like prominent in the business. So get behind your keyboard, do your podcast, make some money doing it, say some shit. Like Kevin Nash is stoned every one of his episodes. He said he was stoned for the whole WCW series. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't give a shit. And you know, but
do you know what makes me laugh? The people with the biggest mouths during the 90s are the ones not doing this shit though. That's what makes me laugh. Like
maybe they
you're
learn.
not hearing when was the last time you heard anything from Hardcore Holly?
Who?
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And I'm not shitting on Hardcore Holly. I'm saying that as a good thing. Like Hardcore Holly could be out here every week going, I got an idea, make me the farmer, you know what I mean? But no, it's he's retired and he's being retired. He's not being one of these guys. And I respect that. JBL, I don't know if they're still doing their podcast or not.
Yeah.
But do you know why their podcast isn't in the news every week? Because he's not
Yes.
shitting on everybody every
No,
week.
because they give a history lesson instead.
Also, they just tell fun stories. They don't go on there and shit on people every week.
Most of them are the same every week, but they're still fun.
Yeah. Him and wow, let's get DDP on there too.
I love DDP.
And DDP is another one, man. You don't hear him. That positively Page gimmick. That's not a gimmick to Page.
But you know what though? There's certain people when they say shit, it means something, and Page is one of them. He says stuff. He'll criticize stuff, but he doesn't do it like a douchebag. He does it like, hey, this is my opinion.
You and I start every single interview before we hit that record button by saying, out of respect, is there anything you'd like to not talk about on the show today? And usually we get I'm an open book, brother. I'm good. Do you remember what DDP said to us?
Not off the top of my head.
DDP said, just nothing negative, okay?
Yeah, that's right.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. He doesn't have time for that shit. I love that. Absolutely love that.
I say
All
that
right, man.
as we're about to segue into the list.
As we're about, oh man, we haven't had a fight in a long, long time.
I think this is the one. I think this is the one. All of my matches are from Unforgiven 2006.
I thought we were going to get fighting regardless because you were pissing me off so much with the list that I've been working on because you just kept bitching about my criteria.
I hate your criteria for this list.
And then you come out with your criteria for the list, and it's the same criteria I had. I'm just like, fuck.
Well, first of all, the lists are totally different. Then Mike's list, can I tell them what the list is so people can understand and agree with me? Mike's list, are you saying or uh-uh?
No, go for it.
Mike's list is going to be best hometown heroes. So which wrestlers represent their hometown the best?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, so like one per town. Mike's like, no.
Absolutely not.
So like, but then that person's not representing your hometown the best.
But you're telling no. I'm not saying what person represents each town the best. what person represents their town the best.
Yeah, but only one person can represent
No.
Toronto the best. The
Absolutely.
best.
No,
The best
that's not
means
what it
number
is.
one.
No.
So what's your criteria? You're just a good hometown person then? Not the best.
So
just a good hometown
there,
person.
I could have 7 people. If there were 7 people that Toronto loved
Mhm.
more than Boston loved fucking John Cena, then I'd have 7 Torontarians on my list.
But only the
It's
number
not
one
people-
spot would be the best.
No, it's not. No. It's not people that. It's not the person that city loves the most. It's the people who can get the best out of their city.
But when I asked you, that's not what you told me.
Oh, we were texting. I can't. Texting's weird.
I blame you. And I hate
I
I
blame
hate
you.
your list. I hate the criteria of it. I think it should be one per city, town, whatever.
That's not what it is.
If Jason Sensation and Newmarket are on that list, I'm fucking out of this show forever. Newmarket
Mhm.
boy, Jason Sensation, as our bumper from him says. But alas, that's next week's fight. We need to get to this week's fight first.
Is that all we have? Is Jason Station our he's not our only hometown boy, is he?
That's
Is
been
it-
on
is
our
it-
show.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. Does Newmarket has another wrestler? Do they not? Like
I
big
don't
time?
think
No?
so. No.
Isn't? Oh no, Josh is from Bolton. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Top 7.
All right. Give your criteria. I'm gonna go and get punched up.
You need to start bringing drinks with you, so you stop leaving me all the time. It's just,
So
you
they're
know,
warm. So they're warm when I
well
drink them.
then
Are you
drink
sick? You're
faster.
sick in the head. You're
Drink
sick in the head.
faster. Top 7 title changes to happen on Canadian soil. I pretty much should have just made this a Toronto list because there's a lot of the biggest title changes have happened
man.
in Toronto.
1 per city, sir.
No, that is not it is the title changes in Canada, not hometown heroes.
One per city.
And I will ask you questions next week about this. This was a hard list. I changed it 100 times.
Just the way you said that, you're like, pay attention because you're getting quizzed.
This was a very hard list.
I feel like I'm on an episode of Classic Match Classroom.
Oh man. You're gonna learn some stuff today, I think, actually. I had a couple really hard matches to leave off on this one. I was making changes up until 4 o'clock today. I stopped working on this list. Why do you take your shirt off at every candidate? Like, we're on a podcast and you take your friggin' shirt off. Put a shirt on. It's Canada. This is why you don't get invited to Canada Day shows. This is not the first time that you've been shirtless or embarrassed yourself on Canada Day's Counted Out.
I got
No,
hot.
It's not the first time that you've taken your shirt off or embarrassed Counted Out on Canada Day. This is your 3rd embarrassment on Canada Day now. This is why you don't get invited to the Canada Day shows. So we'll be taking applications for next year's Canada Day show for a co-host to fill in for Mike, the fucking shirtless wonder over here. All right.
Well,
Top
the
7
the
title
first applicant
changes.
will be my boy Finney.
Yeah, he's well, he doesn't wear a shirt a lot anyways either, so
It's true.
apple doesn't fall
Oh man,
far from the
but
tree.
before we go into this, can I just give one funny fucking moment right now?
No.
You would have marked out so much today. I come down, and I already told you about this, but I come down in my living room, and we have an Alexa in our kitchen, and Alexa is playing Bam Bam Bigelow's theme music.
I don't understand why it wouldn't be all the time.
And not even like his original music. It's the one from that cage match Jim Johnson like release cuts thing. But so it's on there. My boy is walking around like stomping around the house wearing sunglasses and no shirt, going bam, bam, bam. I mean, what have I've done a lot of things wrong in my life, but I did something right here.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, it gets good shit. But
That's stuff. I'm starting him on Raw starting in 1993.
oh god. Get him
Well-
further back.
Well,
Start watching
it's-
Superstars.
this is easy access and where the stories are going to make sense. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Fair. Why don't you start him at the Attitude Era? Oh, hell yeah. It's gonna be
No.
flipping your wife off.
My wife will
Telling your wife to
fucking
suck it.
kill me. Holy shit, man.
Oh, God, that's funny. All right, top 7 title changes to happen on Canadian soil. My 2 criterias were it either had to be a really good match or it had to leave a lasting impact on the business. One of the two.
Yeah. All right.
One of the two.
I can already see where this is going and I hate it.
Yeah, I mean, but it's the importance of the title
I
change.
know.
It's not just the match quality.
Okay. But the importance of the okay, we'll kill that pig when we get there. Okay.
Because there's a couple matches on here that would be easy number ones. And some matches, sometimes the match quality is just gonna outweigh the importance
I
of
know.
a title change. It's gonna
It's
depend
just
case by
again,
case.
again, like we said, you changed your criteria. So when you first started this, I was thinking about stuff, and the obvious one that everybody's thinking about in their heads right now, I was like, to me, that's like a number 6.
Yeah,
Because you said it was,
it's a great match.
you know, but it's a great match, but it's not.
Well, when you
it's not
see
number
where it
one
falls,
quality.
where you,
All
where,
right,
you, where you see where
let's
it
go.
falls on my list, I'll have my reasons for it. But let's start with number 7. I'm going
Let's
to take
go.
us back to the year 2004. We are in Toronto, Canada at SummerSlam. It is Chris Benoit losing the World Heavyweight Championship to Randy Orton.
Great match.
So this is a fantastic match, but it's also a very historic moment.
Horrible SummerSlam.
Not a great SummerSlam. Not a great SummerSlam. I wouldn't
That was a
say
good matchup.
horrible, but it wasn't
were you
great.
there?
I was there.
You were there. I was
I was there.
I was watching that in a famous players in Ottawa.
Better live experience than a television experience because the crowd was
Definitely.
entertaining.
Yeah.
They turned on Edge. You had the drunk guy that fell through JBL's limo. Eddie and Angle had a good match. The opening 6-man tag was really good.
I
Cena
believe
and
this
Booker
is
was
the
okay.
I want to say this was the pay-per-view where the King first coined the term Bizarro World when
Correct.
talking about Toronto. Yeah.
Correct. And it is also the pay-per-view that Randy Orton won his first ever world title.
This is the start for the Legend Killer, man.
He was
really
the youngest heavyweight champion for a long time. Is he still the youngest?
No, I don't think so. I'd
Somebody
have to go
beat
double
him.
check. Somebody did beat him. I just can't think of who.
There's Rob or Steve Bourne will tell us. That's usually how it works. But this match was great, and it's the beginning point of Randy Orton. This match started lower, but it kept moving up as how lists go, right? Because I think that the title change that happened for my number 6, although the match might not have been a better technical match, was still a great match. And I am taking us back to the year 1990 at WrestleMania 6 when the Ultimate Warrior defeats Hulk Hogan for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah.
I think this is a good spot for it. It was a huge title change, a huge match. One of the biggest WrestleMania main events of all time as far as star power goes.
Believe it or not, I watched this very, very recently. Finn
wanted
to watch a. No, I'm not going to agree with you there.
I love this match. I think it's great for what these guys are. I think it's a great match.
I'm just going to quote my son here because he was watching because he really wanted to watch an Ultimate Warrior match.
Good choice.
So I put that on and we were watching it and he literally looks at me and goes, "Dad, why have they been hugging so long?"
The one spot is a little long, but other than that, I think it's a really well laid out match.
I mean, it's not even close to either one of their worst matches, and it's not.
I think it's the Warriors' best match of his entire career.
Yeah, probably, and it's definitely not the worst.
I hate his WrestleMania 7 match with Macho Man. I hate that match,
and I'll never call it the worst WrestleMania main event, but it's not a favorite of mine either.
I love it. I'm a big fan of it. I just remember being swept up as a youngster, and holy shit, these two guys are fighting. Like, I think that's that's what WrestleMania main events are all about. It's your two biggest 100%. Stars, and you don't know who's going to win, and it's awesome. And I really like that. Number 5, as far as in-ring goes, blows away a lot of stuff on this list, but you know, I just it ended up finding its way at number 5, and I'm taking us back to NXT Takeover 2016 DIY versus the Revival 2 out of 3 falls.
Love it.
This is
Love
a
it.
this is an amazing match. It's in the top 3
I,
best live matches I've ever seen.
I hate myself for not being there.
Yeah, this was one of the best WWE events I've ever been to. Hands down from
Yeah.
top to bottom. This card was phenomenal. And
Like,
this match
like you
incredible.
remember.
I was sober this entire card. I didn't drink at all.
Really?
I didn't drink this whole weekend. No, I drove the whole time. And then after the show, we went and met Christian and the Miz and Sami Zayn at the Real Sports Bar for an after party event. It was kind of cool. But I digress. If you haven't seen this match, just go out of your way and watch it. DIY versus FTR for the AEW fans out there. 2 out of 3 falls. These guys just tear the house down. It's one of the best tag team matches ever. It was voted WWE's match of the year in 2016. Just go watch this match. Okay, that's it. Just go watch it. It's awesome.
Cool.
My number 4. A lot of people, yourself included, will probably be surprised at the placement of this one, but I'm taking us back to just last year at the AEW Forbidden Door pay-per-view, Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay for the New Japan Pro Wrestling United States.
I think it's a perfect placement for it. Perfect for it.
From an in-ring standpoint, this is a number 1 on almost any list that you're looking at, with the exception of that one Don Callis spot. This was one of the greatest live matches I've ever watched.
That one, sometimes one spot can ruin a match, and that one Don Callis spot really, really hurt this match for me.
Yeah, you're not the only one to say that.
Yeah, but one of your criteria is importance of the title change going forward, and a year later, we're not really talking about this right now.
No, but the match.
So I think the match quality itself helps it get to that mid list range.
Yep.
If it was anywhere else in this card, I would have argued with you. Mm-hmm. This is where this belongs.
Oh, and that's why I have the DIY match where it was as well, because originally the DIY was my number 3 and this was my number 2, and I was like, I just can't do that. Mm-hmm. Just can't do it. My number 3, we're going all the way back to the greatest pay-per-view to ever happen in the WWE in Toronto, in Canada, and that would be Unforgiven 2006. We got to talk about TLC, John Cena and Edge.
I don't agree with your placement. I believe it belongs on the list.
This one
I'm not a massive fan of this match.
I love this match.
I think there's better matches in their feud. I think there's better matches in both men's catalog.
In both men's catalog, maybe, but not on Canadian soil for a title change.
Yeah. Okay.
Would you have anything that I've listed so far ahead of this match? Just what I've listed so far.
Not that I can logistically really defend, because I love that DIY match.
Yeah, it's a great match, but this is a
I
WWE
like that
World
match.
Championship changing hands.
I like that match more than I like this match. But
Me too.
Based on your criteria, based on a lot of things, you're I can't argue with you.
Well, for this one, the big factors that push it over the edge is the insane Toronto crowd for Edge, which was unbelievable. The finish, which was crazy. A world title changing hands is a very rare feat for our great country, so that is also a big factor. And it was the blow off to one of the best feuds that the WWE's done over the last, during a not great period for the WWE. Let's put it that way. Mm-hmm. And I just think all these things put together, it made for an unforgettable night in Toronto. That night in Toronto, I might as well have just done a Toronto list. So far, everything's been in Toronto. But that changes with my number 2. Right. Screw you, Mike. We're going to Montreal.
All right. Sell me on this. Because listen, before you go on it, I want everybody to know, I think this is a better match until the finish. Mm-hmm. I think this is a better match than their match at WrestleMania 12.
I agree.
I think this is Like they had some really good Intercontinental title matches, but I think this might be the best match of their rivalry.
I agree.
But it's still a 7.5, 8 out of 10 at best, as far as I'm concerned. Especially when you count that finish, maybe it goes down a bit.
Or it goes up
So
again, depending on some people.
yeah, sell me.
Well, here's the thing. Before let's talk about just the events leading up to the match. This
Mhm.
was a very highly anticipated and long built up match to happen.
This goes well. It goes back years. Let's be honest. It goes back all the way to WrestleMania 12, if not before that.
Year and a half, like almost 2 years.
Exactly. But it really, really, really starts like this new, run really starts at SummerSlam.
I say
Right.
it starts the night after WrestleMania 13 when Brett beat up Shawn and wrapped him around the post.
Yeah.
Because they were going back and forth with feuds and sneak attacks all summer. Shawn was just injured, right?
But I guess I'm saying because you really got to get that title back on Brett, right?
Yeah. But then the big moment at
that was
SummerSlam with the loogie and legendary stuff.
And SummerSlam to me was pivotal because number one, it got the title back on Brett, but it turned Shawn heel in one of the coolest heel turns ever because Shawn didn't do anything wrong. You know what I mean? Like Shawn in his emotions swung that chair at Brett, missed and hit Taker, and then did the right thing by counting.
Yeah, otherwise he wouldn't be allowed to work in the States anymore. That was
exactly
stipulation.
Great storytelling here. Phenomenal storytelling. Some of the best storytelling, really. The very next night on Raw, the fans, holy shit, that the fans turned on him. So his heel turn was so uniquely done for this point in time because usually it was black and white heel turns. It was betrayal. It's, you know what I mean? That's not what that was. And you didn't get a whole lot of this. So it's one of the coolest heel turns, which usually up until this point in tradition would have turned Brett face, right? But no, he doubles down on his heel turn. So you got heel Shawn Michaels, heel Bret Hart, doing some of the best work of both their careers up until this point.
Debatable. I did not like 1997 Shawn Michaels.
I know you did.
In-ring, different story. Out-ring.
But Shawn was on a different level. Shawn's coming back from this injury. He's on a whole different level right now as far as acting, as far as heel work, as far as everything he's doing. It's crazy. We're getting into this edgier content. We're not writing The Undertaker off yet. The Undertaker ain't done with this story. Stone Cold Steve Austin's not done with this story. We had
Hell in a Cell the month before that, right?
There's other characters. Well, no, it's coming up. Yeah, the month before
the paper that was the number one contender match for Survivor Series.
Exactly. But you have other characters. You're involving the Nation of Domination's involved.
Let's not talk about that.
You have DX involved. You have the Hart Foundation involved. There's so much going on. There's so many moving parts.
The Patriot.
Oh my God, Del Wilkes, who I thought could see by the look on your face, maybe you're not a big fan of that stuff, but in 1997, I loved it.
Yeah, I loved it. Great theme song.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think you and I look at that differently a lot because like where you see Brett and Shawn both being mega heels, I see Shawn being a mega heel and Brett being lost in the shuffle and put down the card against the Patriot.
I don't remember it like that, man.
Even though he was the world champion, Taker and Shawn were main eventing all the shows after SummerSlam, right? Hotter angle, I get it.
It's because they were putting on better matches.
Well, fair, but I mean, Brett's a better worker than maybe not Shawn, but Brett's no slouch as a worker.
No, Brett and Shawn were neck and neck for the best workers in the business, but it also depends on who you're putting up against. You got Shawn going up against Taker. You have Brett going up against Del Wilkes. I'm not shit talking Del Wilkes here, but he's not the Undertaker.
I mean, you got Brett and Bulldog against Patriot and Vader at the same pay-per-view that they got the first Hell in a Cell match.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, but either way, this match though, then you get into the match. It's got one of the greatest brawls pre-match brawls ever.
hmm
And it's got that sense of realism because we think Brett's leaving. Vince is out there.
And-
Everything feels different about this match.
This is in the infancy of the internet. So
Hmm.
we, for the first time ever, we know a little bit.
Yeah, people
know
know,
what I mean?
Brett's leaving.
We know things, which usually you don't get to know this stuff. So we feel for the first time, we felt like smart marks. For the first
Well,
time ever.
it was in the newspapers, like it got
Yeah.
leaked.
So we know this stuff. So we know that this is, and we just learned as fans that Vince McMahon is more than just a commentator.
This
You know,
this match also, and the main two reasons why it's my number 2 on my list. It's one of the most famous matches in WWF history.
Yeah.
And it's also, in my opinion, what the real beginning of the Attitude Era was. Like, I know it really it really kicked into gear a couple months later, but the Attitude Era was born the night of the screw job because that was the night where the Mr. McMahon character was born.
I have said this 1,000 times. I couldn't agree with you more. The minute that loogie hit Vince's face was the birth of the Attitude Era, and I truly believe
Brett gave him the old huck too, eh? It's the only meme I've seen that I've enjoyed out of that whole thing. But I figure I have to date this podcast by going up to on the air at least once.
Yeah.
But for all those reasons, though, I think that because the match was really good, on top of the historic significance of it,
if it wasn't a good match,
I don't think it would be my number 2.
I don't think we'd be talking about it as in this spot.
I think the historic factor going hand in hand with the fact that it was a good match is why it was my number 2.
I think my only problem, the only reason I didn't want to see it in this spot, and I'm not disagreeing with you, I'm not, but my thought process in this match for the last 20, 25 years has been, is this match famous or is it infamous?
It's famous.
And is that a good thing? You know?
It's a moment, man. It's one of the biggest moments in the history of the company.
100%.
And that's why it's my number 2.
It gave us a lot of great stuff. It gave us a lot of bad stuff. You know, it gave us Bitter Bret Hart.
Started Bitter Bret Hart, absolutely.
Who knows where Mr. McMahon would have went had this not happened?
Right.
Do we get Vince and Austin if Mr. McMahon is not born that night in Montreal?
What happens if Brett stays?
There's so many questions. If Brett stays, do they need to push Austin to the moon? Is Austin in the WrestleMania 14 main events?
I think so. I don't think you could stop that, guys. Any ideas what my number 1 is?
I'm really having a hard time with this right now. Is it in the last 20 years?
Nope. You'll never guess it.
Is it pre 1992?
Yes.
It is. Wow. Pre 1992. So it's like 1980s?
Nope.
So from 1992, is it WWF?
Kind of.
Okay, go for it. I have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
My number 1 was not even on my list until this afternoon. But I did some research and some homework.
Oh, here we go.
And I found
Mr. Deep Cut here.
This is the ultimate deep cut. And I'm going to tell you the match, and you're going to be like, you've never even seen this match. And I've never seen this match.
Okay,
That's
so
my number 1.
How the hell is it your number 1?
I'm taking us back to January 24th, 1963.
Okay, so you lied to me.
What do you mean?
Oh, no, you didn't. I said, is it in the 80s? And you said no. Okay.
I did not lie to you.
No, you didn't.
It is Buddy Rogers defending his NWA championship, losing it to Lou Thesz.
Okay.
Now, you may ask, well, who gives a shit?
Well, sure. Two amazing legends, two guys who paved the way for everybody in the business. I get it. Why is it your number 1?
So we are in Toronto for this match.
What's the venue?
I believe it's Maple Leaf Gardens.
It is Maple Leaf Gardens. Okay.
So Buddy Rogers loses his NWA World Heavyweight Championship to Lou Thesz in a one fall match in Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Mhm.
All the title matches back in the day were 2 out of 3 falls. So this was very controversial. There was a lot of backstage politics going on between the NWA and Vince McMahon Sr. at the time,
Right.
and a couple of other people. So this title change is what led to Vince McMahon Sr. and the CWC, which was this Capital Wrestling,
Yeah. Yeah.
leaving the NWA and creating the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, which
Okay.
was formed on January 24th, 1963, immediately after this match.
All right.
This title change
So here's my take on this.
started the WWF, and it happened in Toronto.
So this checks every box on one of your criteria lists.
This is a massive on that side.
But do we know it's a good match? And that's one of your criterias.
I mean, I've seen some Lou Thesz and Buddy Rogers stuff before, and it was decent, especially for that time period. However, I see a match that created the biggest wrestling company of all time, and it happened in Toronto, and it was a direct fallout because of this match and this title change. I can't not have it as my number one. Because without this event happening, we wouldn't talk about 99% of the other stuff that happened on this list. This is a monumental event in professional wrestling history
that neither of us knew about until right this minute.
I mean, I knew about this match, and I knew about these events, but I did not realize that this match happened in Toronto until today. And that is the reason why it is my number one. I think from a historical standpoint, in the history of not just a company, but in the history of professional wrestling, this has to be my number one.
All right. I'm going to give it to you.
I mean, I think this is a super cool information.
Very cool. Very cool. So we have your number one and we have your number two, but we still need your number 7 through 3.
What do you
because you're only going to a city once, and you've gone to Toronto now. You've gone to Montreal. Where's the rest here?
Listen, all the good title changes happen in Toronto. I don't know what to tell you. Anything that didn't make the list that you thought should be on the list?
No, I can't think of any off the top of my head.
I have a shitload
I wish I could, and I'm sure you do. But I told you in the beginning of the show, I didn't even bother doing my research for this one. You talk about there's so many title changes. I have always been extremely unlucky. I've been to a ton of Raws, ton of SmackDowns, ton of Impact pay-per-views. I've never been to a proper WWE pay-per-view ever. I've been to one NXT pay-per-view. All right, so the closest thing I've ever been to a WWE pay-per-view was NXT Takeover 2019.
Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano.
Mm-hmm.
No title change there, right?
How many title changes was there on the whole show? Because there was 5 title matches on that show.
I don't think there was any. Because Cole was the champ.
Not a single damn. All the titles were on the line that night. The tag team championship were on the line. The women's title was on the line. The North American title was on the line. Not a single title change for the whole night.
Even just looking at this list, like I'm just gonna do a quick count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 matches, 12. Yeah, I think I've seen about, and even on my actual list, I saw 5 of the matches in person.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Yeah.
I saw Benoit, Randy, DIY, Kenny Ospreay. 4 matches in person. The hardest matches to leave off this list, there were a couple.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really, really wanted to put Bret Hart and The Miz on the list for the U.S. title. Just because that's Bret Hart's last title he ever won. And I was there. It was a cool night. I also really wanted to put Lita and Trish on the list. I just couldn't do it. From Unforgiven, where Trish retired and won the belt.
Mhm.
Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam in Toronto was a great match. Just Deonna Purrazzo and Trinity at Sacrifice. It's a great
Mhm.
match. And one that almost made my list as well was one that you were at, Deonna Purrazzo and Jordan Grace at Rebellion.
Great match.
Came really close
That
to making my list.
definitely 100% definitely an honorable mention on that one.
The hardest one to leave off my list was Harley Race versus Terry Funk in 1977 NWA title change, where Harley won the belt. I watched most of that match last night as well. It was really good, actually. A fun one, Ripper Watson and Lou Thesz from 1956, Maple Leaf Gardens.
Let's go back to Ripper Watson.
Demolition beating Andre the Giant and Haku at WrestleMania 6.
Oh yeah,
Fun little tag title match.
Yeah.
Another one that came close to making the list until I rewatched it, RVD and Eddie Guerrero ladder match for the IC title in Edmonton.
Okay.
Just too many botches to make the list. RVD and Regal at WrestleMania 18 for the IC title. Edge beating Jeff Jarrett at a house show for the IC title. Going back to Survivor Series 97, Steve Austin defeating Owen Hart for the title. Shawn Michaels relinquishing the Intercontinental title to Dean Douglas, only to lose it to Razor Ramon at In Your House.
Love that.
Nice little deep cut.
Oh.
Samoa Joe and Nakamura at NXT Toronto. Bret Hart versus Chris Benoit, WCW Mayhem was another consideration. John Cena versus Randy Orton at Breaking Point. Another hard one to leave off the list was Triple H and Chris Jericho at WrestleMania 18.
I was waiting to see if you were going to mention that.
I just thought the other matches were better.
100%. I wouldn't have put it on the list.
And I don't know if it counts or not, but Josh Alexander vacating the Impact title in Windsor was also under consideration. It's technically a title change. He vacated the title, but it wouldn't make the list. But yeah, that's it, man. That's my Canada Day list. What do you think? After hearing all those matches that I listed, is there anything that you would have put on that list?
No.
Over what I have?
No.
So I did good.
I would have maybe fucked with the order a tad, but not even then, maybe not.
What would your number one be? Like out top of your head?
It's so hard, man. It's so hard.
What do you think the biggest title changes in Canadian history?
Because you make it great. I fucking hate to say it, but it's probably the screw job.
Yeah.
I hate that. Just because there's such a black eye at it. People look at it like this is such an important night. I still, after 25 years, look on it like as a black eye. I don't like the screw job. I don't like, maybe it's because it's been shoved in our face so many times for the last 25 years. You know, for the longest time, every anniversary of it, we were getting documentaries and people talking about it. You know, the only time it was ever talked about and thrown at me that I enjoyed it was the night that I was in Montreal and Sean came out and did the whole fake out with Brett coming back. Other than that, I was always on the implication of, okay, it happened. Now let's not talk about it anymore. Just shut up. Because to me, it's it was a black eye on wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you know, at that point in time, yeah, kayfabe was going away a bit, but it was the defining moment of, hey, everybody, what we do is not real, and we're proving it right now by saying that this guy on TV is throwing a tantrum because they took away his fake title. It didn't look good. I didn't like it. I didn't like it then. I don't like it now. To me, it's a black eye.
There's a time-honored tradition, the Vince promo.
You know, yeah. So, with that said, I do, up until the finish, I do like the match.
Great match.
It's a great match. And, you know, I have a very soft spot in my heart for WWF 1997.
And you love Bret Hart and Will Ospreay and hate Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
That's your gimmick, brother. I'll screw up all the names.
If bitter Bret Hart didn't exist,
I love bitter Bret Hart now.
Bret Hart would be my favorite wrestler of all time.
Have you seen the reel when he kept calling everyone idiots and said it was stupid?
Not yet, because you said it's on the show, isn't it?
No, it's not on the show. It's a reel.
Oh, it's a reel. Okay.
I'm gonna send it to you immediately after we're done.
I thought you said it was on the show, so I've been waiting.
No, it's definitely not. But
No, Brett, if it wasn't for bitter Bret Hart, if he wasn't so freaking annoying, Brett would be my favorite wrestler of all time. Now I say that, but even in the day, I wasn't a Bret Hart fan though. I've never cheered for Bret Hart
no, you haven't.
ever.
Except he's in all of your favorite matches.
He's in all of my favorite, but I always rooted against him. I rooted for Roddy Piper. I rooted for Stone Cold Steve Austin. I rooted for Owen Hart. I rooted for Shawn Michaels. But look at that caveat right there. All those great wrestlers wanted to work with Bret Hart because he was the best at what he did, man. And I'm coming around. I might be coming around and CM Punk too, but so
Punk's been great. You know,
Punk's been awesome.
Punk's great. And then the one thing I'll say about Punk that I do like is that he will advocate for himself. He will speak his mind. And like if you really think about all the times that he's lashed out, you kind of said it the best. It's when people ask him questions. It's not like he goes around.
He doesn't.
Like the first time with Colt Cabana's podcast, right? Then the press conference. Well, it's a press conference. People ask him questions that pissed him off.
Yeah.
And then the last time was Ariel Helwani. But I mean, like, if you really think about all the, the Punk bitching stuff that people talk about, and he'll make his little jabs here and there, and as everybody does.
There was a point in time during his retirement, he would go on Twitter and he makes stupid comments, and that's what pissed me off during that time. But he doesn't really do that anymore.
It's minor. It's minor now.
And it's very minor. And the things he does say, like you said, are in interviews like with Ariel Helwani. And you could tell even then he was a little torn on.
He didn't want to talk about
this stuff. No.
Well, and he flat out said, I don't want to talk about it.
I have a question for you before we go off air. It's off topic, but on topic at the same time, because we're talking about CM Punk, we're talking about Bret Hart, and these guys are kind of very related to that. One of your, if not your favorite tag team of the modern generation, FTR.
Yes.
They've done a lot of great in AEW.
They have.
I'm not sure how much more they can do over there.
Yeah.
My question to you is, do you think they could thrive in Triple H's WWE? I'm sorry.
I think that Triple H has proven that anybody can thrive on it if they're coming in and given the opportunity and willing to put the work in. Absolutely.
I think the only reason they got bitter on the company and they got bitter on wrestling and they weren't used properly was because Vince McMahon didn't use them properly.
No, they 100%.
They were used great in Triple H's NXT, and then all of a sudden they're on Raw shaving each other's backs.
I think you see them do a big indie run. I don't think they go back to WWE.
You don't think we ever see them back in WWE?
I mean, I could see them doing a shot, but I don't think they sign another contract.
I'm gonna disagree with you, and I'm gonna say we're gonna see another variation, not the same, but variation of the straight edge society. We're not going to see the straight edge society, but we're going to see some sort of group, sort of like what we're seeing with AJ and the Good Brothers. We're going to see with CM Punk and FTR.
I mean, I wouldn't hate it. I definitely wouldn't hate it.
Now imagine that feud.
Be great. I would love
it. The OC versus CM Punk and FTR.
Sign me up.
That's money, baby.
Bring AJ back to fight Mia Yim.
Now I don't know how much time they have left over in AEW.
I don't know either. I think they might have another year or two.
I think they have a bit, yeah. But I think that they could do the best work. I know you would consider them have already done the best work of their career, but I think they could really come do the real best work of their career in under Triple H's WWE, because they could still have the great matches they're known to have, but they could also tell some awesome stories.
I think they want to work the indies and just go out there and work good tag teams. I've heard them say that before.
And I'm cool with that, but I bet you we get a couple years of WA, because they're not old guys. They got some
but they've talked about winding down. They've talked about not wanting to be on the road too much, and I think they've got families and stuff, and I think they just want to take big tag team matches. I'd love to see them in Impact. TNA.
I think with the Good Brothers over there, I think with Punk over there, I think they could be coerced to go over.
I would not be shocked if it happened, but I never say never in wrestling.
And Brett still has a Legends contract, so to see him in the mix over there too,
Oh yeah, they love Brett.
right?
That's the best moment when
And
when
so
we
does
saw them.
so does Punk.
When I went to AEW, I was in the front row with Van Landon and our friend Jordan. Dax, I was yelling at him because he was right beside me. It was commercial break. And I was like, he was wearing the Bret Hart gear. I was like,
Yeah.
nice gear, brother. I think me or Van Landon, I can't remember. We were like, nice gear, brother. And he just looked down at us. He goes, I'm just a mark. I'm just a fan too, man. I'm just a fan.
Love it.
It was great. They were
Love it.
fantastic. Like after the cameras, and then they came over and signed my picture, took a selfie with me. Oh yeah, they were great guys.
I got to say this last week I threw to you and I expected you to throw it back to me and you didn't, and that's fine. But I threw to you saying, what was your dream match? What would be your dream match to of a tag team to face Australian Takeover? And you said ABC. Now, I didn't get my turn to throw my team in there, but my two top teams would have been FTR or the Motor City Machine Guns.
Oh, Motor City Machine Guns would be great.
I think both those, because they could run that great style with ABC that you mentioned. They could also run that great style with the Motor City Machine Guns.
Is
you
it?
watch Julian in the ring though?
Oh, he's good.
I don't want to take away anything from Kaz, but Julian, he can wrestle. He can go toe to toe with Dax. I think, you know what I mean?
It's also safe to say that the Motor City Machine Guns are going to go down in history as the most underrated tag team ever, right? Because like when you talk about greatest tag teams,
I think you won't agree with me, but they're in my top 7 greatest tag teams of all time.
me too.
They are.
Me too. But I don't think they're in a lot of people's, and that's why I say that.
No,
I don't think they're in a lot of people's top 10.
Now, are they the most underrated? That's debatable. It's either them or the Briscoes. I think the Machine Guns and the Briscoes are the two most underrated teams ever, but it's only because why? Because they didn't wrestle in WWE. You know, I'm not watching AEW, so I don't know what the Machine Guns have been doing over there. Have they even debuted?
No.
No, yeah,
they're not signed. They're not even signed yet.
Oh, I was on the impression that they went over and signed.
There was talks, but there's been no official announcement of a signing.
Very odd. Okay.
Chris Sabin's coming to St. Catharines for that big Resolution show.
He is, yeah. Well, so I'm going to do my very best Lloyd Christmas impression. So you're telling me there's hope with this whole NXT thing?
So you're saying there's a chance.
That's it. Saying there's a chance. That's the one. You know, and you got some TNA boys in the locker room. You got Jeremy Borash. You got Chris Park. You got Petey Williams.
You got Chris Park, Joseph Park, and Abyss.
Exactly. They could be making some phone calls, man. You got AJ over there. Come on. I want to see the Motor City Machine Guns in WWE so bad.
Unless they have the theme song, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see them go anywhere unless they have the song.
WWE can get the song. They can get the song. Easy. Who this is so off topic. We'll move on from this right after I ask this. Who's your number one tag team on the roster right now that you want to see the Motor City Machine Guns face in WWE?
In WWE?
Yeah.
DIY. Yeah. I'm just a big fan of theirs, but you know, too. Grayson Waller and Austin Theory would have a great match with them too. Judgment Day would have good work with them.
One of these days, those Uso boys will get back together.
Dude, the Usos and the Machine Guns is a dream match.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's officially impossible to put together a top 7 tag teams list now. I think it's just too. I don't think it's possible.
It's very, very difficult. Last thing I'll say before we wrap it up. You just mentioned that word dream match. I gotta tell a funny story about dream matches. Finn heard that term dream match used on a show. I don't know. Oh, because he asked me to watch a John Cena match today, so I just pulled out because it's nice and short. I pulled out John Cena and Undertaker from WrestleMania, and he was watching that, and Michael Cole said something about a dream match. So he asked me, "Daddy, what's a dream match?" So I explained to him what it was, and then he sat there. And I could feel the wheels turning in his head, and he waited and he waited and he waited, and I said, "What's going on?" He goes, "I'm thinking about my dream match." And I said, "What's your dream match?" And I thought it was going to be something dumb. You know what I mean? Because he's 6 and, you know.
Tito Santana versus who?
And and you know, and they usually get it. Man, this kid understood the assignment. This kid's dream match was John Cena versus Dusty Rhodes.
Oh, good stuff.
Right?
American Dream, baby.
I looked at him with such admiration when he said that. Like,
Son of a plumber.
where did you come up with this stuff, man? I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Man, I'm really building a little mark here. I love this.
Fantastic stuff.
Yeah. He's coming up to me asking me to watch matches. He wanted to watch John Cena versus Roman Reigns. I said, I don't got time for that shit, brother. That doesn't work for me, brother.
Yeah, they had some good stuff.
Yeah, I know, but
match was good.
Well, even the WrestleMania match was good, but I don't have time to sit down with that right now.
Fair enough.
So long. Didn't they go for like fucking 50 minutes?
Who, Cena and Roman?
Yeah, felt like it.
No, they've only ever fought twice. They never fought at Mania.
What am I thinking of?
SummerSlam and that weird pay-per-view.
What was the weird pay-per-view?
I can't remember the name of it. It was like there's like a No Mercy or something.
Okay. Well, we don't want Rob yelling at us twice in one show. So, Rob, you can yell us at that one. The youngest champion of all time is still Randy Orton.
I think it's
Do you
great.
know? Technically, though, he's the youngest world champion of all time, right?
Yeah.
Do you know who is still the youngest WWE champion of all time?
Like of the world titles?
Yeah.
Brock?
Like, he's still Brock Lesnar. Weird,
Well, that's because I missed my debut.
20 years ago.
20 years too late. I almost got you.
Yeah. Well, with that said, I became really old 8 minutes ago.
Yes, officially happy birthday.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Thank you. I am officially 43 years old. I hurt everywhere. Getting old sucks, dude. But that's fine. That means today, as of today, I get to go watch my favorite band in the whole world, the Counting Crows, play at one of the greatest venues in Toronto. I still call it the Molson Amphitheater, but it's known as the Budweiser stage these days. You've been to that venue 1,000 times. What a great venue that is, eh?
Been there 1,000 times and forgot about half of them.
If only we could find a way to get wrestling there. That would be my dream.
Yeah, it just doesn't work.
It doesn't work at all. But I love it. It's like because for those who haven't been there, it's like an old school band shell, really, right?
But there's a lot of wrestling coming to Toronto next week.
Is
WWE with 3 shows. Sami Zayn comedy show. GCW's in town with Nick Gage, Matt Cardona. It's a good time to be a wrestling fan. Birthday boy.
Yeah. On behalf of everything we talked about, on behalf of this beautiful country of ours, say what you want to say. Hold up your stupid fuck Trudeau signs. Hold up your I love Trudeau signs.
Don't do that. I don't like that.
Hold up anything you want because we live in a country that gives you the right to do that, and we love you for it.
No. You will just listen to Count It Out and subscribe to our YouTube page.
I am so grateful. I'm not that guy that bitches about this country every other day. I like this country. I like living here, and I'm proud to have been born here. We love doing this podcast here, and goddamn, do I love Canadian wrestling!
Hell yeah! Right,
some of the greatest wrestlers in the world have come up right out of this country, including the late great Roddy Piper. So many legends have come out of this country. So on behalf of this country, we say thank you for listening to the show. Go down there, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, do it in the name of Canada, brother. And until next week, I don't know what we're doing yet. It's going to be a messed up week. It's right after Canada Day. I'm still going to be on vacation. I'm probably going to be really drunk.
No.
So hell yeah, I'm coming at you with. Hopefully, I'll be coming at you with my my hometown heroes list, which will be really fun. It'll be probably just like yours. 7 people from Toronto. I don't even think I know 7 people from Toronto.
Still. I hate you.
Just to piss you off, I'm going to do it. Until then, my friends, oh Canada, you've been counted out.
And like Billy Red Lion said, don't you dare miss it.
Who else said that?
Diamond Jim. Cheers.